Good morning, Tallahassee. It's time to wake up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi and Corey Clark.
Early in the morning.
What is up? Welcome on in. Wake up! It's Wake Up War Chant. I'm Aslan. Corey Clark here as well. You already heard our names. We're in Bradenton. We are no longer in room 112. We're in Corey's suite.
Yeah,
but we won't say the number
suite.
because the groupies will just
we can't have that. I'm in a committed relationship now. I can't have people just banging on my door at all hours.
I kind of am too, but we'll get to that at some other point. All right, man. How was IMG Academy? Sights, sounds. Did it smell different? Did the sun reflect off the stucco at a different angle that just made it look that much more marvelous than any other place you've been in your life?
No, man. I'll be honest. Being anywhere at 7:15 in the morning or whenever at 7 o'clock in the morning, nothing's going to look good. In my eyes, that's just the way I was raised. I don't want to see anything at 7 a.m. Sunrises, I don't care. Unless Brady was born early in the morning, that counts.
When do you know when you were born?
I think honestly. Funny enough, I think I was born like at noon.
Okay.
So that kind of goes with my personality. Man, it's in a really impressive place. I guess I didn't quite realize how big it was. I mean, it's enormous.
Huge.
The fields are, they have, I would guess, 5 soccer fields, 5 lacrosse fields, 5 football fields, 3 baseball fields. I mean, it is a complex. And they also have an academic building, but it is it's an athletic complex.
It's a compound.
And it really is, and it's enormous. And, she said that while we were there were baseball camps going on and track camps, I guess, or those kids, all they did was stretch, it seemed like, on the track. But, they have camps
Megan
going.
Flanagan.
Yes, the
Director of
Communications. She said they essentially have camps going on year-round. And they have apartments on campus for families to live there if their kids are going to the school. I think she said a lot of it is soccer families because they have a soccer program, but they, soccer, baseball, track, golf, tennis. What was cool, I thought, was on the football field house when we drove in was a picture of DeAndre Francois playing for IMG and a picture of Jonathan Isaac on the big banner by the field house. So it's a really impressive place, man. It's really impressive.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, not everybody who goes to IMG Academy goes to big places, but if they do, they go to Florida State and do really big things.
No, well, they've had a few other guys go on and do other stuff, but yeah.
I was trying to figure some sort of Dos Equis way to spin that in there, I don't always drink beer, but when I do, so it's like, players, not everybody from Florida State goes IMG, but when they do, they get their face on a billboard. I mean, it's a mural.
Yeah, no, it's really impressive. It's a big old thing. That must have been a cool moment for old DeAndre rolling up in the bus and seeing his image right there. That's pretty cool. James Blackman had to be like, "Oh, what is this about?"
That's probably why they didn't let it. That's probably why he didn't talk to the media today. They're probably like, "All right, you saw your face."
Yeah. So we got Blackman and Hockman.
Right.
So yeah, talk about that, Aslan. Go.
I didn't really want to go there quite at that point yet.
What did you want to talk about?
We got to shoot ourselves in the foot because we sat last night and talked about, and we did record last night's show, obviously, because we had to be at practice at 7 o'clock in the morning, which would have cut into, broadcasting live. What we're talking about, it's at IMG Academy. IMG Academy is where all the, the dogs eat. What a huge move by Willie to practice down here. But Will even told us, I can't even recruit these kids right now. There's nobody even really there. Move-in day is next week, I think.
Now, the football players are here.
Okay.
They're on campus. Yeah, she said that the move-in day is next week for the normal students, but the football team is already on campus, and they're staying in the dorms.
By normal students, but doesn't everybody there play sports? I mean, no one just goes there.
Maybe non-football players, I guess.
Okay.
I don't. Are there normal students that just go with IMG?
I don't think you're paying $60 G's a year just to learn,
to take English,
Copernicus, did whatever. So he said that they can't really. This is like a dead period. He can't even talk to the players. But I mean, the fact that they were there, I would just imagine that if you're a player and you're on campus right now, you're going to go swing by practice and check out Florida State.
And we say that we didn't see any high school players roaming about, and maybe they would be told by that really polite old security lady. I shouldn't say older security lady. I don't even know if she was security. She's just sitting there in a chair with a pink shirt on. but maybe she would be the one to tell them, hey, no, you can't do that. It's closed. I doubt it. But when we were there, we didn't see any high school football players around. But there's no doubt that they know that Florida State is here. They know they're here. And the Florida State team is using their facilities, making them practice in the afternoon when they normally practice in the morning. So just being here is a recruiting advantage. Not a huge one again. And it's a dead period, so Willie's right in that sense that they can't talk to him. But it's all about just awareness, being around, being prominent. I mean, they're on your campus. It can't hurt.
Like if Clemson came to Coxfield and Tallahassee, that'd be pretty advantageous for them, would it not?
Even if they couldn't even if they couldn't talk to any of the Tallahassee kids, of course. Yeah, I mean, would it land them a bunch? I don't know. But they don't recruit Tallahassee like Florida State recruits IMG. So every year, Florida State's going to have 5 or 6 kids that they're probably looking at from this school because it's such a crazy, prominent football powerhouse. So, no, it's not going to be a bunch of, unofficial in-home visits or anything like that. But it's just being here is a nice recruiting ploy. I do think, by and large, and it's also Willie's home, which is cool. But I do think, by and large, it is, I think he thinks the biggest thing they get out of it is being on the road together as a team.
Bonding, right?
Yeah, it's just, again, we pointed out, you could go bond anywhere. You're at IMG. And now when he was asked that, he goes, look around. There's not many places that could give us this, which is true. There aren't many. I mean, I don't know if there's another high school in the country that could give them quite this.
Hoover High, buddy.
So
take it to Birmingham.
But again, you're going on the road. You want to get something out of it. The main thing you're getting out of is the bonding and the team experience and all that, and learning to be away from home, your own practice facility, and getting them out of their comfort zone, quote unquote. But it also helps that there's a lot of really good football players 400 yards away on the same campus.
We asked Bailey Hockman. I asked him about, are you a creature of habit, and how is this a good thing? And he's like, well, I'm a creature of habit in terms of I like waking up at a certain amount of time, or at a certain time of the morning.
5:15.
Whatever he likes to wake up at, and then
they have to. Doesn't matter what he likes.
Get his morning workouts in, but practicing out here, he says it really won't affect his preparation and the way he performs. And I mean, we were there. We got to see 7 periods of practice, which works out to about 30 minutes, maybe give or take. It looked fairly crisp. I didn't see any, lollygagging or anything.
Looked kind of the exact same. Yeah. The music was still going. It's just,
I mean, Walt Bell was on his sled after they opened up and did a physical drill, like an Oklahoma drill, and then they did their standard sort of individual stuff where, running backs start off and hit a sled that Walt Bell's on, then they go through the little gauntlet where Dante Pimpleton's at, the linebackers are with Woody doing, running through trash cans. Odell is just ruining people's souls. Gosh. Right. I can't even watch him anymore. It just hurts me watching other players run through his drills. He's just like,
get low,
move your feet,
stay low.
Move your feet, move your feet. And I'm like, oh, man. Like, Fred Jones literally got behind Robert Cooper, a.k.a. the Trench Monster, and was pushing his hips back and forth, helping him get through the drill.
Yeah, which was kind of cool to see, actually, because that guy I think is going to be really good. And then Fred Jones, that guy's trying to take Fred Jones' spot, more or less. And Fred Jones out there helping him out. That was good to see.
Yeah, I saw on the internet, I don't know if you saw it, I should have sent you the link last night, but a lot of the players, I guess, were putting it on the Instagram, they call it, moving into their dorms. Dude, their dorms look like this Mediterranean.
Well, they're not dorms, though. They're apartments.
Those are, I was about to say.
Those are the apartments where some of the families will live. The dorms are different. The dorms are where the IMG high school team is staying right now. They have their own dorms. But this is like luxury apartments that they get to. It's nice, huh?
It's exactly what when I saw somebody posted on maybe PA01, shout out to you, posting it on warchant.com, was like, check out the players moving into their dorms, and I just thought that those aren't dorms. That's a $1,200 a month 1-bedroom apartment in Tampa.
Yeah,
it was like luxury living, just pink stucco, and the interior was all like bamboo and beautiful plants, and beds side by side. I'm like, this is not a dorm. This is incredible. These kids are living it up.
Sounds like you want to move to IMG.
I wouldn't mind doing it. Just got to procure a child, or
got
a child.
Yeah, I got to get Brady down here, man. He's 10. I figure when he's 15, I'll send him down here, and he'll be the next great.
Why wait so long, man? You want to instill the foundation of your principles before somebody.
Of course. And so I guess they do it, not that anybody, you might care. They start from 6th to 12th grade is what the grades are. Okay. I always thought, honestly, that it was like 11th and 12th graders.
No, sir.
But, yeah, I mean, for people that don't know, if you know the name Nick Bollettieri, who's a famous tennis instructor, really from the 80s and early 90s is when he got most famous because he had Agassi here, Jim Courier here, Jennifer Capriati. They all trained down here. I can't remember if the Williams sisters made it down here or not.
I don't know.
But he essentially started IMG. Like IMG, it was the Bollettieri camp. Mm-hmm. And it was like this. These kids would come when they're 13 years old to train for him with him year-round in an effort to be professional by the time they were 15 or 16. And they'd also go to school. And then that has kind of morphed into what it is now, which is an all-sports, all-encompassing campus. And we drive down Nick Bollettieri Way or whatever it is to get into IMG. So look up his name if you don't know it, but that's how this whole place started. And it's just a bizarre way to go to school. We talked to Trey McKitty about it, and it's got to be really bizarre to go to school at a place like this.
Man, it's good times out here. All right, let's step aside. We're not going to take a commercial break, but we're just going to do a reset.
Okay, well, that's
talk
weird.
About observations.
Okay.
You want to do observations?
I can't wait.
Observing
I
what you're
can't
observing.
wait.
We'll be right back. It's Wake Up War Chant.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Everybody go hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. I say if your girl start acting up.
Welcome back. I'm Aslan. He's Corey. It's Wake Up War Chant. Usually on 97.9 ESPN Radio, but podcast only because, again, we're in Corey's undisclosed suite at the Holiday Inn Express in Bradenton, Florida. Want to keep the groupies at bay. All right. So we saw about 30 minutes of practice. I don't know if anything really stood out. DJ Matthews, maybe a little optimistic on him returning so soon. Maybe Willie might have wanted to change the timeline on that. He doesn't look like he's coming. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to walk it back. He's still rehabbing. I would have assumed he would have been back by now, the way that Willie talked about him on Sunday or Monday of camp.
But was
opening.
he with the position group a little bit, doing some stuff? He
saw
was fielding punts.
That's right. But I did see him rehabbing a bunch at the beginning. Well, I guess. All right. Well, it's good. Correct me. Thank you, Corey. So we should do more.
You're welcome.
You should correct me more often. Cole Minshew was on the bike. He is the projected starting right guard. Mm-hmm. He was subbed out by Corey Martinez. But otherwise, from left to right, it was Jawan Williams, Derek Kelly, Alec Eberle, Corey Martinez, and then Landon Dickerson at right tackle. So, I mean, you mentioned Saturday was the first day in full pads. This is only the second day in full pads, day 7 overall. Maybe, who knows, maybe after this week they'll maybe cement Landon at the right tackle spot if they haven't already. I just figured maybe we would see Derek Kelly at some point play tackle, but it doesn't seem like that's been happening so far.
Yeah, we'll know more on Minshew hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't think it's anything to panic about it, but I think I mentioned it in a kind of flippant way when we did our little video wrap, and you're like, listen, everybody, we don't know. And I was like, oh, that's right. When you mention somebody that's a starter not participating, everybody starts panicking. I wouldn't panic people.
And again, he was very vigorous on the bike. He was really getting after that bike, so he wasn't limping. I mean, maybe he was limping to the bike, but once he got on the bike, he seemed to be full go, and he didn't have a sling on. So again, we don't know what his injury is necessarily, but we'll know here in the next 12 to 24 hours. We'll know what the injury is, and maybe he'll even be back by tomorrow.
Guess who was not rehabbing with the injured players? George Campbell.
All right.
That's the first time I think he hasn't been to the side, at least in an immediate observation period.
And we've seen him do some stuff in every practice, but this was the first time he wasn't. You're right that he didn't start there for a couple of periods.
Yeah. So that's slightly encouraging. I also saw the eraser out there, and the eraser's usually been Emmett Rice has usually been kind of doing some stuff. But in the periods that we were able to observe and watch, he was out there with the position unit, the linebackers doing some stuff.
And I didn't see Marvin Wilson with the injured guys either.
Yeah, you're right. I saw him going through under the chute or whatever they call it, with Odell being told, get low, get low.
Yeah, so maybe he'll be back to full strength soon.
What are they bending when they get low if they're not bending their knees? I mean, if you're getting low, if you're dropping your hips, that's a good thing, I would think.
Your head and your back, I guess, and your butt's in the air, and he wants your butt to get down low too. I would think. Did you
ever think about being a kinesiologist? You could have done that at Florida State. I think they have a really good kinesiology program.
I mean, that's it's kind of what I wanted to be all growing up.
The body movements.
Yeah, and then I got stuck into writing.
Yeah.
I got pulled into the big bucks of writing.
Right. Quarterbacks, very limited in what we were able to see, but we were able to speak to James Blackman and Bailey Hockman. I don't read into that, if you will, anything. I don't know, maybe. Again,
yeah, it was odd that we got those two and not DeAndre, but that maybe we'll get DeAndre later in the week. But they were all out there.
Maybe they figure he's the starter. Let's give these other guys some at least publicity.
Yeah,
to help their
DeAndre's going
ego.
to talk to them all the time because he's going to be the starting quarterback. That's probably what he told. That's probably what Willie told those two other guys.
Or he saw his face on a mural when they rolled up here, like, all right, you probably don't need to talk to anybody today. You're good.
Or maybe they heard you ripping him the last time he talked, and like, hey, then we just won't give him DeAndre anymore. If they're gonna treat my boy like that, we're just not gonna give him to the media anymore.
Blame Aslan. I shall wear that. I shall wear that scarlet letter, not with pride, but with shame. Great shame brought upon the War Chant brand. But Bailey Hockman and James, I thought, had something interesting to say each on a different level. James Blackman's kind of fearless. I like him, man. I mean, I've talked about the fact that I have an affinity for James Blackman. I just feel a sort of, I don't know, level, I don't want to say pity, of like empathy almost, just the way everything kind of happened to him last year. That just wasn't. Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody would have drawn that up, or he would expected that, and to be thrown into what he was thrown in was really tough for him to kind of have to handle. But, last week we saw during the open portions of the practice, maybe have been one of the first full open practices, but he doesn't back down from people, even if you're 6'5" and 240 pounds and have been an unblockable force in Brian Burns.
Yeah, man, he's got a big magnetic personality. I mean, he really does. And you can see why guys kind of rally behind him and why Cam Akers would say what he said about, out of all the guys on the team, if somebody snatched a purse from his mom, the guy he'd get to go track the guy down would be James Blackman. And then Blackman said, yeah, that he's a different kind of skinny. I think he is. He's not afraid.
Well, remember the kid from Boston College we spoke to? We talked about the game, and he was like, that quarterback, Black, and he remembered the kid's name. He's like, we kept wailing on him, and he kept getting up.
Yeah, which is a sad statement on that game and what happened that night. But it is. I mean, he's a tough kid. You can't argue with he or Francois' toughness, and I'm sure the Bailey Hockman's tough too. Jimbo didn't recruit a lot of wimps, so these guys can take a pounding because they had to. James Blackman's personality, man. It's if you're around him, he's a guy that you can. I feel he's just magnetic. He's got a really good personality. But you know what? If he doesn't win the job, he doesn't win the job. I just thought that was really interesting when he was asked about Brian Burns. Now it should point it out, he's not going after DeMarcus Christmas. You know what I mean? Like right, Brian Burns is only about 35 pounds. 40 pounds heavier than Blackman. He's the smallest defensive end on the team.
Blackman's 178, brother. At least got 50
pounds on him. Yeah. So, but I mean, as far as defensive linemen go, But speaking of Burns, man, if you haven't been on War Chant, Doc, it's on War Chant, right? You put it up there, that video.
It's up.
Watching Brian Burns just destroy the tight ends, and it's a drill where. It looked like it's a drill with defensive ends versus tight ends. And it looked like Burns just completely abuses.
Don't say his name. No,
that's fine. There's tight end. They're the starting tight ends. Yeah. Trey McKitty. Because we talked to McKitty about blocking Brian Burns earlier in the day. But I think McKitty was yelling at Burns because I feel like maybe the drill was try to keep Burns from getting to the outside.
Okay.
So McKitty stepped to the left, and Burns just raced past him, swim moved him to get to the inside. But I think that's kind of what McKitty wanted him to do. Like, hey, man, and he was pointing at him like, you're trying to get out here. Like they were having an argument about where Burns should be trying to get. Now, I don't think McKitty meant to get thrown around that quickly by that guy. So anyway, they argued right away. That was the first play I saw. And then the next three – I mean, I think McKitty did it again, and then it was Upshur. Yeah. And, I mean, you can say the names, but they're on. Did you blur out their numbers on the video?
Well, we don't want to go over. We don't want to drive the dagger.
It's fine. I mean, they're going up against Brian Burns, but then Upshur did the next two, and it was the same thing, man. I mean, Burns he could tell those guys what I'm going to do, and they'd still have a hard time blocking. The one move he makes, I think it's the last one before it's the one that had Mark Snyder.
Literally keeled over laughing.
Just really, really smiling after that. That thing is so quick. I mean, it is lightning quick, that move. I don't know what you'd call it, a swim move, a rip, whatever he does to McKinney to get him on the ground and go right by him in the blink of an eye is pretty jaw-dropping to watch. And then, of course, Burns is Burns. So he doesn't just do the move and then let him be like, hey, good try, man. He has a little something extra to say to the guys.
You'll notice in the video, if you watch the video wrap-up that Corey and I did out front of IMG Academy Stadium, during that drill, that you'll see the camera actually shake. It's from me laughing because I see Mark Snyder laughing.
Right.
And it's just not fair.
Yeah.
I felt bad for the tight ends.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough ask.
Yeah.
It's a tough ask.
Yeah, because I mean, if they were in a live game situation, if they were for another team, a tight end's just going to probably chip Brian Burns. They're not going to engage him one-on-one.
You would hope it wouldn't be a one-on-one battle with the tight end because that'd be a mismatch.
Well, at least we'd hope so. Clemson, Dabo, I think you should, do that. Maybe,
Yeah, just have your tight end try to block 99. That'll work out.
Yeah. All right, let's step aside for another sort of reset. We'll be right back.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Wake up! He's Corey. I'm Aslan. It's Wake Up War Chant coming to you from the Holiday Inn Express in lovely Bradenton, Florida. Just about, 5 minutes away from IMG Academy?
6-minute drive, my man.
6-minute drive.
Like a mile and a half.
Shout out to the boss putting us up here. Super close. Makes our life easier. Although I'll be heading back to Maz for the rest of the week.
Did you say Mons?
I wish. To my mom's.
To Maz? Oh, gotcha.
Meatloaf. Where's the meatloaf, Mom?
Yeah, Mom. What is she doing in there?
Never know what she's doing back there. All right, so we were talking about quarterbacks before Brian Burns took over the discussion, which is rightly deserved. Asked both James Blackman and Bailey Hockman and it's probably not a good question, obviously, and it's, I'll wear it. But I kind of was asking both of them, what's the discussion like day to day in the meeting room with the quarterbacks? I mean, do they know I'm trying to ask them, do they know where they stand in terms of the competition? And both of them were like, we're just out here competing, playing our best. And then Safid, I don't know if I'm going to say his name right, but anyhow, the guy
I think it's Safid, but I've always said Safid.
Safid?
And he just stopped correcting me after a while.
All right. The dude from the Sentinel, who's a good dude.
Former Democrat.
Yeah, there you go, alum. That's where all the great people cut their teeth.
Right.
Followed up with, well, where do you think you stand? And Bailey Hockman, straight up, I don't know. I'd like to think I'm the
front runner. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Front runner.
I'm a front runner, but you never know.
Right.
So I don't know how the internet really reacted to that. I think I saw a couple people that did a little looking eyes emoji, the eyes looking to the side. Like,
man, what was life like before emojis? How did we ever express an emotion?
Well, life's actually coming full circle. I mean, hieroglyphics,
Oh, that's true. Yeah, basically Twitter's like just cave drawings.
We're just going back.
Yeah,
man.
good point.
I mean, words and letters. You writers, man, watch out.
I know.
Coming for you. So I don't know how people reacted to that. I thought it was kind of refreshing. And again, I mean, just not to belabor it. Speaking of belabor, did anybody ever use the word belabor before Katie Kirk used it on Sarah Palin? I never heard of the word before Katie Kirk kept going after
people
it.
use the word belabor.
I know. That's a little bit of facetious. Did you ever use it? I never used it. I never even heard it used until that whole thing.
What did she say? Did she do? Oh,
she did Sarah Palin.
Do you read a newspaper?
Yeah, not to belabor the point.
Wasn't that the same interview that she said she could see Alaska from her house?
I don't know.
Or not Alaska, Russia.
Russia, right.
Which, I mean, it's our
close enough.
Biggest ally now. I've used belabor. I've used belabor a few times in my life. I don't know if I feel like I definitely used it before Katie Kirk.
Not to belabor the point, but if you didn't know any better, and I think you've mentioned it in this sort of way, if you didn't know there was a 3-man race at Florida State, and you came and you watched the practice at Florida State, and you saw those 3 guys throwing the ball, I don't think you would be like, oh, that guy, that's your guy, right? So, I mean, I don't think it's really that much even of a stretch of Bailey Hockman to think that way. I mean, I hope people don't laugh when they hear him say that, like, come on, man. Because it's open, I think.
I mean, I mean, again, it is open, but I'll say it. I wouldn't just be surprised if he won the job. I'd be stunned.
Oh, okay.
Because you have 2 guys that have done it for a full year. Yeah. And then so next year you're going to have 3 guys on your roster that have all started for a season? It's like, okay, we're going to all give you a season. And all right, James, you're going to be pretty easy to beat. You only went 7-6. DeAndre, you got a chance in 2019. We're going to see how Bailey does in 18. When you have two guys on your roster with that kind of experience, and you're not, in my opinion anyway, and I'm not watching all practices every day, you're not dramatically better than those two guys.
Right.
This isn't Jameis Winston trying to beat out Clint Trickett. I would be stunned if the guy with no experience got the job over the two guys with a year under their belts.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's well put, well said. You're right. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, you also, to your point, you wouldn't want him going, yeah, man, I don't really think I got much of a shot at all. These guys are completely outplaying me. Sometimes I wonder why I'm even here. Like, you don't want that from any quarterback on your roster. And this isn't J.J. Cosentino.
No.
I do think Bailey Hockman belongs at Florida State. I think he can play at this level. That recruitment was bizarre, like the aforementioned quarterback I just named. But this guy can play, and if things happen, I don't think he would embarrass himself if he had to go out, if he was forced out there to play as a redshirt freshman. Yeah. But you got two guys that are sophomores. What is Francois? Is he a junior, redshirt junior?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. So you got a sophomore and a junior, and then you're a redshirt freshman. It's going to be really hard for you to beat those two guys out. But you want him to think that he's playing well, and you want him to you want a guy on your team that competes and wants to win the job and thinks he can win the job. Otherwise, why are you at Florida State, man?
Detour. If the current new established redshirt rules existed in 2015, does Francois save the day against Houston?
He would have played, for sure. I don't know if he saves the day, but he probably would have looked better than the guy they threw out there. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he definitely would have played.
Another random question.
I like these.
Who was less worse, DeAndre versus Alabama or James versus Clemson?
Who was less worse?
Yeah. Or you want to say who's better? I just don't really know if better.
I like less worse as you don't hear that a lot. I would say,
being mindful of the fact that DeAndre is playing against the number one team in the nation at a neutral site, James on the road against one of the top defenses in the nation.
Yeah, Bladman wasn't very good that game. His touchdown was the throwback to Izzo, right?
The oop-de-oop.
No, I would say that Francois was better. Francois was pretty good in the first half. He threw the touchdown. He got screwed out of what should have been first and goal at the 2 with a no call on the pass interference. It wasn't a great throw. If he makes a good throw, that's a touchdown anyway, but it was interference.
Was it on Izzo or to Izzo?
I think so. Yeah. Or Nooney? I thought there was someone Nooney, too, in that game. But the second half, he just, he wasn't very good. But Blackman wasn't. I didn't think he was very good at all against Clemson. I thought he was really good the last 4 games, but the Clemson game, he wasn't great.
I think Blackman had a QBR of 5 against Clemson, and DeAndre had a QBR of 20.
Well, there you go. So he was 4 times as good.
Yeah.
A QBR
4 times
5.
less worse.
Yeah, that's right.
That's one way to look at it. Freshman receivers, that's kind of been not a hot topic, but something to keep an eye on. Just because I don't know how much of it is the fact that they are going to have to actually go out there and contribute just because of the numbers, and also how much of it is the fact that it's such a novel concept around here, considering the last 8 years, if you were a freshman and you played wide receiver at Florida State, you kind of automatically redshirted.
Yeah, it's both. But he is going to play those guys, and I'm telling you, man, he likes the Helton kid. Is that his name?
Yep.
Number 20, Keyshawn Helton.
Yep.
He's the smallest of the receivers by a good portion. He didn't have any real offers from anybody else. At least looking at his bio, it looks like it says received interest from instead of had offers from. So I think he was one of their last takes, maybe the last take. And, didn't you say that Hockman mentioned him too?
He did, specifically.
And Willie's mentioned him a couple of times, and he also mentioned him on punt return. He's just one of these 5'8", jitterbug type guys that can be a slot guy, that can make guys miss in the open field, that can be a guy that takes a bunch of screen passes and makes some plays. And Willie really seems to like what he brings.
A more athletic Patriots wide receiver, I guess some people might want to.
Well, maybe not more athletic, just maybe a, different look.
All right, that's one way to say it as well.
To coat it up.
Yeah. That's a dog whistle. Yeah, It's good to see the guys out there, the wide receivers, making plays and then also getting praise from their coaching staff.
And he mentioned Harrison, Treshawn Harrison, and Warren Thompson too came out of Willie's mouth.
Yeah, Jordan Young, I think he said, is kind of battling a hamstring injury. Georgia product, so don't lose hope on him. And then DeMarcus Adams, another guy that's also out there too. They didn't say anything about it, but I saw him out there. He looked good.
Yeah.
Bunch of good-looking guys have done pretty good on the recruiting path. Otherwise, was there anything else I really wanted to talk about? No, I mean, that was, about 7 periods we got to watch. I think periods are about 5 minutes a pop.
Yep.
That's what we watched.
DeKalen Brooks' dad was out there.
Yeah.
It's always good when the dads get to watch practice. You get to see your son, so that was cool.
I was about to say, so maybe they can't recruit players, or maybe the players aren't, some players might have gone home or whatever that are IMG players or students, but it's a really quick drive for legends of Florida State lore and the Tampa Bay Bucks. They had a scout out here, so
2 of them.
Okay.
They had 2 guys. Do you think DeKalen's dad could just wander over to the football dorm where all the high school players are at?
No, I think he's probably, since he's an alum, he'll probably be some sort of.
And what, is he not allowed to just walk around campus, see if maybe he wants a grandson to go to IMG, maybe he wants to coach there one day. He wants to tour the campus, and he just happens to run into the football team.
You're trying to make sense of the NCAA's rules and regulations.
I will also say this to anybody that's wondering. I did not see an NCAA, anybody with the NCAA, any security people here watching what Florida State does at this practice.
Are you being funny right now?
No, I'm saying I didn't see one. So
were people expecting that?
No, but the thought that Florida State could be here for an entire week and maybe not bump into certain people on this campus, who's policing it? Nobody anyway. Not saying that they would break the rules or try to break the rules, but if they did, it's like a tree in the forest. There ain't nobody here watching them anyway.
All right.
Know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. All right, so you'll be heading back. So Ira will be coming off the bench for Wednesday and Thursday, I assume.
Let's hope, buddy. Let's hope. Again, we can do it. I can do it in the car. I can do it when I get back to Atlanta. I'll be here tomorrow watching practice. I'll be here for Tuesday's practice. So then, maybe we can do this on Tuesday, and then Ira can knock it up after that. We got a Renegade Express sometime this week, too?
I was about to say, do you want to do Renegade Express? It might be tough. We'll do questions only in terms of tribal council, write-in questions only, because the whole audio aspect might be a little too above my head being on the.
You just let me know, buddy. You just let me know when I got to put the headsets on.
Yeah. Anything else? There's anything else that stood out to you, or is that good?
No, but I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to enjoy the beach.
Okay.
Supposedly a nice beach right around here, Anna Maria Island here in
Somebody messaged us and said that it's actually supposed to be pronounced Mariah, like Mariah Carey, but for some reason
it's spelled Maria.
I'm just telling you what one of our.
So if I went and said, "Hey, how do I get to Anna Maria Island?" They'd be like, "Hey, man, it's Mariah."
He was admitting the fact that it's been hijacked, and that's how people say it. But if you're a true, New Orleans, you don't say New Orleans.
If you went to Atlanta, there's a Ponce de Leon Avenue. And
Ponce de Leon?
It's Ponce de Leon is what it's called in Atlanta. So if you wanted to pronounce it correctly, Ponce de Leon, they'd be like, "Oh no, man, it's Ponce." No, most people just call it Ponce, but it's Ponce de Leon.
Gotcha.
And my mom from Griffin, Georgia, went to school. My mom's 76 years old, so this was a while ago.
How's she doing? Is she doing all right?
She's doing well. She's doing well. She's recovering from the surgery. His name, they all called him Juan. Juan. Griffin, Georgia in the 50s, my man. But it was Juan, and that's how he pronounced it, too.
Oh, man.
Juan.
Bradenton, Florida in 2018. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening. We'll catch up with all y'all tomorrow. Have a great one.
Peace.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.